Okay. All right. Okay, so it's 2 o'clock and let's get started. So today's webinar is all about the 10 actionable steps you can take so that you can start creating some online income. We are at the, the very start of what I can only describe as a revolution. There is an internet revolution going on. Our grandchildren will be learning about this in their history classes and we will be a part of it. But it allows us to have such opportunities. So let's get started. Share the screen and away we go. So one of the things that I found, in dealing with midlife women, because that's what we are, is that often it feels a little bit overwhelming, the whole idea of actually going online and producing, online courses or revenue streams. So this is designed to show you that in 10 actionable steps, you can get started and producing something, an online course or a completely new blog, whatever it is that you want to be doing. So let's get going. For those of you who don't know who I am, and I'm sure there's quite a few of you, this is just a little bit about me. My name is Sara Mosley, and like most women of my age, I am a mum, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister and aunt. I'm many different things to people, and that's one of the things that I'm most proud of. I think, we grow up in life, you kind of get married and you have children, and I very much realized a couple of years ago that I am where I've kind of spent many years trying to get to, and that is I am the very center pin of my family, which is what I wanted to be doing. I am a relentless workaholic. And I have always had an interest in business. If we just go back a little bit, I went to university to study business studies and marketing because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I did know that at some point I wanted to have my own business. After leaving university, I went into the magazine publishing market and I launched magazines. I can say all over the world. I mainly worked in London, but I launched 3 magazines in Dubai at a time when magazines were, on the up, definitely. It was a real wonderful time to be working in that media. So I come from a corporate background, and when I decided that I wanted to have a family with my husband, we thought that was a good time for me to start to do my own business. So I became a business owner. And I took my hobby, what was my hobby at the time, and mixed it in with all my business experience. And I started a photography business, and that was 12 years ago now. I started it in Dubai. I then had 2 babies, and we came back to the UK. And I carried on and sort of set up a great little picture company. And I had a successful photography business, which I loved very much. But a couple of years ago, I experienced, and with hindsight looking back, a burnout. And that was a real wake-up call for me. Here I am in my early 40s, and I suddenly found that I created this fabulous business. However, if you took me out of that business, which, I had to do the photography, and whilst I outsourced other parts of it, without me actually creating the photography in the first place, the business wasn't able to kind of carry on its own. And I realized that, I was spending more time with other people's families. It was very much a weekend and evenings kind of demanding role for me. And I burnt out. I basically, my body shut down and said, no more, we can't do this. So I decided to close my beautiful studio in Sutton Coldfield, and I started then to realize that I wanted to do something that was more online, that would give me more time, more freedom to be spending it with my family, and also to pursue other things that I wanted to. You know, I'm in my midlife now. It's kind of, oh, I hope I'm not actually there yet. No, if we get to 100, I haven't reached it yet. But it's a case of, you know, starting to think about the future and being able to generate income where it doesn't necessarily need me to be exchanging time for money at that actual point. So it was really, really crucial to me that I moved on. So I dusted off my coaching qualifications, which I got 13 years ago, and I gradually faded out my photography work. And I started working with other photographers, mentoring them and helping them with the business. And I've now grown to fully specialize in helping, you know, middle-aged women in their midlife who've got to a point where they were going down one path and they're thinking they need to make a change. And that's okay. Change is good. So I am the champion of change. I believe in evolution, and I think our passions and our direction in life does change because we change. And that's how I got into all of this. So that's just a brief overview of me, but hopefully that gives you enough flavor to kind of understand why I'm very passionate about this. So I've made it my business over the last few years to be really understanding the online world, how it all works, and we can get started now, and I will show you these next 10 steps. So this is for you if you are a service provider looking to widen your audience. So if you're somebody like a graphic designer, a local PA, if you are doing something where, you know, you've generally operated where you exchange time for money, but you want to broaden that out now. There are lots of options that allow that to happen, of which I will go through in a second. If you're a coach or a mentor, and I love the world of coaching, I have to say, you can get a coach for anything. And if, you know, there are so many women going into this now, thinking, oh, the market's flooded. How wonderful, because not everybody wants to work with the same kind of coach. So if you're a coach or a mentor through Zoom, as we are now, or Skype, you are able to coach and mentor people all over the world. Perhaps you have a business, whether it's retail or product-based or service-based, but you've got a course inside of you that you know you can produce and put it online. Now, one of the things that I realized, I used to run photography workshops, and I had those courses online at that time, then things may have been a little bit different. But if you are running a workshop, a physical workshop at the moment, then you will be able to turn that very, very quickly into an online course. And of course, the beauty of an online course is you can then market it to your audience around the world. Okay, so this is for you if that's the case. If you're a blogger and you're just starting out, I run a small networking group, business development group called Hiking Boots and Posh Pants. And that very much started as just a blog. It was me musing about, you know, entering midlife, making changes, post-burnout, and the start of my journey. And that has turned into something else. And, you know, if you're starting as something like writing a blog, don't think that it's not going to bring you any income potentially. If you are able to build an audience, and an audience that you are able to influence in terms of, you know, when you write, they want to listen, they want to hear to what you've got to say, then you have the potential to be bringing in an income from that as well. And what better, you know, if you have a passion and you are helping other people by voicing your opinions, whether that's entertaining them or helping them make something better in their lives, then how wonderful to be able to spend your time continuing to do that because you're gaining an income. And finally, if you're a local business owner and you're wanting an online presence, then this is for you. So for example, you might be a yoga instructor, you could have a local store that people come to, a clothing brand, anything like that, where you want to actually increase your online presence so that more people know about you in the area. And of course, you can provide added value services as well. So hi to those. If you are here, then this course is for you today. So let's get started. Well, the number one thing that you're going to need if you're going to be bringing in an online income or creating an online business is you're going to have something to sell. Now, I just mentioned blogging, and when I say you've got to have something to sell, sometimes people go, oh, they hate the idea of actually selling product or selling services and being out there. But you've got to understand your objective to being online, and you've got to be able to outline what your proposition is to people so that they understand that. And you've got to understand what you're selling and what you're promoting in order to be able to translate it onto a website so that people can understand what it is that you're selling. And the most important thing as well is you've got to understand who it is that you are speaking to, who your target market is as well. Now, when you've got the basis of that, then obviously you can start to move on. So being, specific about this really does help you to get started. So even if it's a case at the moment that you're a blog and you're wanting to voice something that you're very passionate about, then, what is that? What is that you're blogging about? What is it that is so specific that is going to attract that particular marketplace for you? Now, if you're struggling with having something to sell online, I've got a whole free course called Idea to Income, which kind of helps you delve into looking at things that you're good at, looking at your passions, and how you can actually start to see if that's a viable option for you to be selling something online. All right, so I'm going to assume, because that's a whole area there, but I'm going to assume at this point you're thinking, yeah, I have got something to sell, whether that's your consultancy, your particular service, or whether it's your idea for an online course. Okay, now the second thing is you're going to need to create a WordPress blog or website. Now, this can be deemed as fairly controversial because a lot of people like to use things like Wix, or, you've got Squarespace now, which I believe is really good. And I have looked at it, but I have to say, I think it really is a good idea to stick with WordPress. If you go to wordpress.org, you are able for free to, after you've bought your URL, you are able to use WordPress. And if it's so easy, if you can get started with WordPress blog, then if you want a developer to come in and help you with your website at any point later, WordPress is the main thing that they're going to be wanting to use. You can host your own website as well, and it's really very easy, and you can do this for just a few dollars or a few pounds a month. You can host your own. So what that actually means is you can get your little space on the internet, and then you add WordPress onto it, and away you go. You can start to build a website. And there are lots of free templates out there. And all I want to say now at this point is, if you are able to use Word, as in the word processing, you don't have to be any more technical than being able to use Word in order to build your own website. Okay. You've got to think about how you're actually going to deliver. Now, what I mean by that is, what is your website going to be doing? And there are lots of different options for you. You may decide that you might want to go down the membership site. So what would happen here is you have a membership site, and people will pay you on a monthly or weekly basis, and you will provide content for them. And they're able to go in there and they can find lots of different pieces of content. So some examples might be that if you want to be building on something where you're adding lots of skills in each single month, then this is a really good way to do it. So it's about protecting your content, and people pay you in order to have access to that content. You can do online courses in different ways. You can do them where you drip feed them. So somebody would come onto a course and say it lasts 6 weeks. You drip feed them the course once a week so that they're able to take it in bite-sized chunks. Or, of course, you can do a course where they just get instant online access to all of the content of that course. You might want to do booking online. You might want to say, okay, I have yoga classes to fill, and what I want the online side of my business to do is that people can come, they can decide which class they want, and then they can book, okay? And they can pay you online and book their particular class that they want to do. Now, on Hiking Boots and Posh Pants, for example, it is all automated. If people want to come along to our networking meetings, then they just book their particular place, and then it's all automated and emails are sent out to them with all the information that they want. And of course, that just means that I'm not replying to every single email that comes in, and it's all done really, really easily. So it's a really nice service. And then, of course, there are options like digital downloads. So if you wanted to maybe create an ebook, for example, and put that out there that people can purchase it from you, then you would want to be able to set up your website so that they can download it. So they just pay for it, and then they would be sent the link and they can download it. So you need to kind of have a little think. And sometimes we don't actually know what options are out there. So these are just sort of 5 options that you can potentially consider there as well. So definitely worth thinking what you want it to be doing. Now, branding. I love branding because it's really not very complicated at all. Branding is just kind of making, you taking what you do and kind of putting it in a more visual way. So branding, you don't need to have fancy logos. You don't need to have big advertising campaigns. You can just select certain colors that you love, fonts. Think about the audience that you are actually targeting and what they might appeal to. Personally, I love lots of bright pictures. I love lots of vibrant colors, because that's very much reflective of who I am. I'm dealing with women in midlife, which I see very much as an adventure as opposed to a midlife crisis. I think so. My website and my branding is very much on sort of bright colours and so on. In terms of language, I think, if you are out there and you're wanting to give a presence online, then really you have to think about your phrases, what makes you unique, and then obviously speak to your clients in your ideal clients in that particular language as well, and use your style, be unique. Logos, there's all sorts of things. If you do decide you need to go down the road of a logo and you haven't got one already, there are lots of websites. I highly recommend 99 Designs. It's an online resource, and you can go on and you can sort of get people to bid for your business, and they will provide you with lots of different designs. And you can go to a graphic designer as well, of course, and if you know somebody locally who's got a really good reputation, then go for that as well. But you don't need to have a logo in order to get started. Sometimes we can get mixed up with sort of making things really complicated, and you don't have to. Images that you appeal to. There are lots of things on the market, and I've done a few freebie sessions on using stock images and how you do that and use that with your website very easily. So that there are places, just to give you a few examples, there's pexels.com, Death to Stock Photography. There's a whole list of them, and if you have a look on my Facebook page, and soon on the website, all of those resources will be there as well. So you just need to think about some basic things. Colors and fonts is enough for you to get started with your website. Okay, so creating lead magnets and becoming more visible. This is the fun stuff. Okay, so once you've got a base with your, I'm just going to move that down. Okay, so once you've got a base, as in your website, then the next thing that you're going to start to think about is clearly creating content. And what you want to be doing is attracting interest to your website. Now, how do you actually do that? Well, you're able to kind of talk around your subject. You want to be seen as the go-to expert in your particular area. So depending on, whether you're blogging and giving useful information, then you might want to take it a little bit further and create lead magnets. So there could be videos, there could be Facebook Lives with useful information, there could be checklists, there could be how-tos, there could be blog posts or templates. One of my most popular lead magnets was a business timetable that you can just download, and it helps you sort of plan out all of your time. And but that's been able to, you know, it's something of use. You're servicing your clients and your audience, and obviously you are doing that because you want to be starting to gather interest and also email addresses. So there's lots of things you can do there. You want to be able to capture the data, okay? So if you're going to start putting lots of things out there and getting yourself established as the go-to person for your particular area, then really want to start to capture data. Now, what I mean by that is email addresses. It's all very well having wonderful social media followings, but if Facebook was to close tomorrow, you know, your email database is where your income is going to come from. And what you want to be doing is you want to be attracting people that want to know more about you and more of your services. So you're going to be adding value to them, and you're going to be building that relationship with them through your email. One of the feedbacks that I get with Hiking Boots and Posh Pants is that I actually send out quite a few reminders about the meetings that are coming up. And at first it felt really, I felt, oh God, I don't want to send another one out to them because, you know, they know it's on. But life happens, okay? And I think once you start to get brave with your email database in terms of thinking, hang on a minute, I'm actually providing a service here. And once I got emails saying, oh, thank you so much, I've been meaning to do it and I haven't done it, it really gives you that confidence. So you're only sending them things that are going to be of interest to them. Most people understand now that if you join an email database, if it becomes, it's something that you're just not interested in anymore, or it's not for you, then you just unsubscribe. And lists too, they evolve, but you need to have something that is able to capture the data. And there are, again, free resources out there. So you can integrate them with your website. There's a thing that you can have, like plugins, they're called, and they're so easy to install on your website, and they will help you capture data. There are, I'm just going to talk about it on the next one about email marketing systems as well, but you can do this. You can start to capture data on your website really very, very easily with various plugins. So automated email marketing is something to be thinking about. And what this allows you to do is gather the data, so you've got it all on a database, then you're able to systemize and you're able to start to communicate with them. When I had my photography studio, oh my gosh, this was amazing that I was able to service my clients really well after they'd made a booking. So after that, I'd spoken to them on the telephone, or my studio manager had spoken to them on the telephone, we've done the consultation, we've gone with the booking, I would then send a series of emails to them, and they would be of useful information. So how to prepare, what to bring with you. And although we talked them through this, it was really useful information. We'd send them reminders about how long they had before their appointments, and things like, you know, how to deal with the children before they came, how to prepare. And it went down so well. Now, of course, it was a service we were able to offer that didn't actually mean we had to be there in order to do it. So we didn't have to be on the end of the phone. And obviously the client had the convenience of reading all of this at their leisure. So you can really, really build some great relationships. And of course, at a later date, when you're ready to sell to them as well, you know, you've got that relationship already, and you know that they are going to be interested in what you're selling. So, for example, if you are able to give weekly tips or extra information that is of use to your particular audience, then when you come to sell them something, they're going to be interested because it's going to help them. So you can create campaigns. Two really good. I use a system called Infusionsoft, which, my gosh, it is the daddy of email marketing. However, you know, I've been using these systems for some years now, but you can start this with something like MailChimp, or there is another one called Drip, which is brilliant. And you can start that one. I think it's up to 250 people on your database for free, and then they both start to charge as your databases grow. But from a starting point, you're both really accessible, and they will integrate with your website very, very easily as well. So this is the next thing for you to be thinking about. Yeah, so, you know, the combination of having lead magnets, that gives somebody a reason to give you their email address, okay? And then obviously you're then able to market to them, because once you start dealing with people online, you are attracting the ones, that's how they want to be communicated with. You know, they do want to have the convenience of having the information when they want it. Now, driving traffic. This is, what is this? This is one of those subjects that I find, I love it, okay? I think if you take Facebook, for example, as a platform, Facebook is free. You know, 1.6 billion active audience is on Facebook. And sometimes people have a little bit of a moan going, oh my gosh, you know, organically it doesn't work anymore. It still does, but in terms of a way of attracting people to your website, if you know your audience is on something like Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, wherever they are, there is now a paid for service. And in terms of the marketing activity and your return on investment, the information that Facebook holds, or any of the platforms, I keep talking about Facebook because that's where the majority of my market is. That's where I find them. They're active there. So that's where I want to, that's where I'm going to find them. That's where they hang out. But the amount of information that Facebook holds about all of us is huge. And when it comes to actually driving traffic to your particular website, you are given, you know, such amazing marketing tool here. So you can, through learning about how to use Facebook ads or Google ads, you know, you're able to really pinpoint not only the age and gender of your audience, but also their kind of interests that they have. And if you have a database, this was the biggest find for me. I love this. If you have a database already, you are able to upload that into Facebook and create a lookalike audience. So you're asking Facebook to kind of look at your database in terms of the profile. If they can find them online within Facebook, then they're able to deliver you more people who are of a similar nature. And that makes your marketing highly, highly targeted. So you're generally having a smaller spend. I mentioned earlier that I come from the magazine publishing market. Back in the early 90s, I worked on, it was the biggest computer magazine called Computer Shopper. And we used to do like £1 million a month in advertising revenues. It was huge. And people used to have to spend thousands every single month on, you know, advertising to get to specific audiences. Now it worked because the magazine was able to get to those particular audiences, of course, and they read the editorial, they loved the magazine, therefore they were responsive to the, you know, the ads that were in there. But now you don't have to make that kind of spend. You know, as a small retailer, if you wanted to go into a local newspaper, you were talking quite a big spend. Now you can really manage how much you spend by just learning a little bit about Facebook ads and Google ads as well, so how people are finding it. So don't dismiss, don't think, oh, it's going to cost me a fortune. It doesn't necessarily have to. You'll find that you'll get a really good return on investment once you know what you're doing. Okay, now SEO and web optimization. Again, I wanted to put this in because sometimes people glaze over. And, you know, there are companies that will do this for you. Of course there are. If you're at a stage where you are just starting with this and you haven't got big budgets, you know, this, I think this has been the main thing. I love all of this. Okay. I really enjoy kind of working these things out. I guess with a technical background in terms of like photography and editing and software packages and so on, I don't have a fear factor of it's going to be beyond me. It's more a case of, you know, the internet nowadays and how everything works, it's becoming simpler and simpler and simpler. And it's just a case of having the right attitude of understanding how things work. Now, I've made it my business. I have in the past employed people to do this with my photography website, but you need to be an informed customer. And in order to, you know, understand what SEO is, which is search engine optimization, all you need to do is just have a little level of knowledge. Now, there are plugins that you can put into your website that will help you with this. The main one that I recommend is called Yoast, SEO by Yoast, which is Y-O-A-S-T, and you plug it in and it will basically tell you the things that you need to do. So in terms of like how big your blog posts need to be, whether you've got an image, is your headline any good, and it kind of does it all for you. In terms of like your images, that's something you can just learn, you know, how big your images are. If you have your images on there and you haven't actually learned just a little bit about what's called web optimization, image optimization, it just means you're going to slow up your whole website. And what that means is if somebody comes on to your website and it's just loading, they're going to move on. So a few simple little techniques to understand and away you go. So, you know, do a little Google, have a little look, and you will find that you know, you will be able to be found by search engines. So Google, when they, you know, when somebody taps in what they're looking for, they will find your website. It's a highly competitive market. There are lots of people out there, but there are certainly loads who are not even thinking about the search engine optimization or making sure that their websites are running nice and quickly. So I've got on here that you checklist, how to blog post templates, all of these things that you're putting onto your website. You know, you need to make sure that it is all optimized, so it's all being delivered. One of the things that people make the mistake is, and there's a top tip here, if you are uploading documents to be downloaded, do them on an external storage, something like Dropbox or Amazon storage, so that you're not loading up your website with lots of content. Okay, so they're able to go somewhere else to have it downloaded. You will keep your website working really, really quickly. Okay. And number 10, you've got to be able to make sure that you can take payments. And again, this doesn't mean that you have to be spending an awful lot of money. Now, when I had my photography studio, clearly we used to take credit cards and so on. But the market was different. Even a few years ago, the market was different. Now we have, clearly we have PayPal and we have Stripe as two systems that I use, but also you're able to set them up really, really simply. So PayPal, you are able to just turn it into a business account really quickly. And there's plenty of sort of advice on there about how to create buttons and be able to take payments like now. Do you know what I mean? Set it up and you can take the payments. You just put a little bit of code onto your website and you can integrate the whole thing. So you want to get to the stage where you're able to take payments, you're able to take bookings, and then the rest is all automated. And it's all very, very easy to do, and it doesn't take too long. Now, sometimes I hear people say, yeah, but you have to pay such high commissions. The beauty of having an online product is that your margins are as big as you want, depending on the value of what you're actually selling. So if you're selling a course about, you know, how to make your business become more productive and bring in more income, then clearly you're able to charge a higher price. Now, what happens is clearly your commissions are based on only when you make a sale. If you have a credit card agreement, often you have to sign up for sort of a 3-year agreement and pay a monthly fee. This way you don't. So your commission on an individual basis is higher, but you haven't got that same level of commitment. And when you're first starting out, that's so important. And companies like PayPal and Stripe, they are huge. So in terms of, you know, I challenge anybody who hasn't used PayPal to pay for something. So you can be reassured they have very stringent kind of rules, and it's often worth sometimes just putting in a call to PayPal. A lot of people don't know you can actually do that, but they are very willing to be on the end of the line. And if you tell them what you're trying to achieve, they have help desks that will help you go through all of this as well. So again, it's easy in terms of once you know what the possibilities are, the next stages come on from there. So, my gosh, I have just rattled through an awful lot there, and we'll go on to the chat in a second, but if you bear with me, I'm just going to stop sharing. Hold on. Here we go, stop sharing. So has anybody got any questions that they would like to ask? Now, if you do, pop it into the chat. I have got a couple here that have come from emails of people who said they can't attend right now, but they've got burning questions. One of them I've just answered, actually, which was about the commissions. But if you have a question, do pop it on there. Or if you want to ask me anything about the idea you have, or what you're looking to do online, then obviously now is a chance to go for it and pop a question in there. What I'll do is, while I'm just waiting for that, I'm just going to go back to share screen just for a moment, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about how, you know, with the services that I provide, how I could potentially help you further if this is an area that you want to get into. Now, my website at the moment is under construction, which I know, I just thought, I've got to come out and be honest about it. It is, because I'm concentrating on the moment. I am finishing, I have a Teachable website with my new courses on it, which is just awesome. And I am going to be offering several services. The ones that I offer at the moment are the one-to-one coaching. So if you're looking for a coach and a mentor, I am very much about action taking, okay? I believe that, you know, we all have fears and we all want to learn how to overcome them, and I've got lots of techniques to help you with that. But it's about finding out what it is that you want to achieve, and then making, you know, helping you take the steps to actually make it happen. So I've broad brushed today what those 10 action steps are, but each one of those can be broken down into small tasks. And I've got testimonials from people that have, you know, in a matter of a couple of sessions, I've been able to help them actually build a whole website very, very quickly. So it can all be done. I have, starting in January the 15th is very exciting. My Midlife Adventure Academy is going to be starting. And in there, a whole host of courses, and there are little elements of all of this that we've discussed today. So how to build a website, how to get your email marketing up and running, and they're very practical step-by-step guides in terms of the courses. So some of them start at $37 and they go all the way through up to $797, depending on the size of the course that's going on. But they are all very comprehensive. And I'm very excited as well that I'm going to be starting doing a group mentoring and accountability sessions. And this is where we're going to have no more than 4 ladies in any one group, and we meet on a weekly basis online, and we'll all be able to see and talk to each other. And it's about going through a journey together so that we're all accountable. You guys, obviously I'm leading it for you. I'll be giving you tasks, and then it's a case of, like, you know, making it more bespoke for each of you. And then you've got a little team. You've got a team behind you who are going to help keep you accountable. And if, you know, sometimes it's really hard to be doing this on your own. And if you know you're not on your own and you don't want to let others down, and you really want to kind of like you know, keep that fire going and keep stepping forward. Because one thing that I truly understand is that, you know, we come up against resistance. We start to move forward with something and it gets a bit tricky. So it's easier to kind of give up than it is to carry on. And that's exactly what coaching does for you, and having a mentor is they know the way forward. And that's one of the services that I would be able to provide for you as well. So let's just go back and see if we have any questions. No, it's everybody feeling very shy. That's fine. So if you have got any questions and you want to contact me, you can reach me via email, which is sara@saramosley.com, and send me a message. And if I can help you in any way, I will. So thank you very much. That's all from me. I've got lots of things coming up. And as I say, I'm not bombarding you with lots of sales and so on right now. But I've got some really fabulous things coming up. And if you are looking at going online, then in the next few days, you are going to want to be looking at your inbox. But, oh, hello, Jackie. Oh, lovely. I'm glad that was useful. Thank you. But the main thing I want to leave you with here is, you know, most people procrastinate because they don't know how to go about something. And we are in a time now where we have so much to give, don't we? We've got lots of experience behind us, and we have now at our fingertips the world, basically. So wherever your target audience is locally, you are able to now kind of roll that out and reach far more people. And I don't know about you, but in terms of fulfillment, when you've got something that you're really passionate about and you're able to make an income from it as well, by helping others to do what it is, or to teach what you teach, or to provide what you provide in terms of like a service or a product, then how satisfying is that? So I urge you, you know, do have a think about this. It's a huge opportunity. And if you like walking your dog, if you don't want to be traditionally 9 to 5 anymore and be more flexible with your time and have more time with your family, then this is the way forward. So thank you so much for your time and attention. And I look forward to hearing about what you're all going to be creating. Thanks a lot. See you again soon.